I do think your Eagles made
Did you
the
just say my? Did you just say my cheat? I thought you were about to say my cheat.
your Eagles made the wrong jersey selection, my friend.
Oh, you believe in that?
100%.
Well, we did win Super Bowl 52 in our midnight green jersey.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Oh, wait a minute here. What do we got here?
You don't believe me about the white jersey theory? Here you go. All the recent Super Bowl champions, all the way up to Super Bowl 53. You ready? Super Bowl 40, white jersey. Super Bowl 41, white jersey. Super Bowl 42, white jersey. Let's see. Super Bowl 43, white jersey. Super Bowl 44, white jersey. Packers, home jersey. Super Bowl 46, white jersey. Super Bowl 47, white jersey. Super Bowl 48, white jersey. Super Bowl 49, white jersey. Super Bowl 50, white jersey. Super Bowl 51, white jersey. Super Bowl 52, your Eagles, home jerseys. Super Bowl 53, white jerseys.
Super Bowl 54, Chiefs, home jersey.
Super Bowl 55, Buccaneers, white jerseys. Super Bowl 56, white jerseys. Super Bowl 57, white jerseys. Last year, the Chiefs wore red. A majority of the time, if you are wearing your white jerseys, you are going to win the Vince Lombardi
The
trophy.
majority of the time. And you know what the funny thing is? Guess who are the other teams outside of the Packers who wore their main color jersey? The Eagles and the Chiefs.
Yes, and the Eagles had the choice of wearing their away jerseys, but nope. They're
We
playing.
haven't worn our away jerseys in a playoff game since the 2022, or no, since the Tampa game last year.
So that's part of the reason why I think you're going to lose.
Well,
I fully believe in that theory. It is I don't even think it's a conspiracy theory
well,
anymore.
for the record, my Eagles have only wore their white jersey in the Super Bowl one time. They lost that game to the then Oakland Raiders in 1980.
Yes, but when you wore your home jerseys against the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 39, you
We lost.
lost.
I understand, but again, we did win in our green jersey in Super Bowl 52.
Yes, but as I just illustrated, that's an anomaly.
Okay, so let's actually get to the nooks and crannies, the nuts and bolts, the fascinating Chiefs Eagles rematch of Super Bowl 57, Super Bowl 59. And Josh, as I've been telling you over the past 2 weeks since we found out this was going to be the Super Bowl matchup, I think the key to this game is not Saquon Barkley. It is not A.J. Brown. It is not Devontae Smith. I think the key for my Eagles to win this game is going to be Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, the defensive line, and they put pressure on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs because the one Super Bowl the Chiefs did lose 31-9, Super Bowl 55 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers just whooped the tail of the Chiefs' offensive line.
Yes, but that was also because the Chiefs' offensive line was severely injured.
Well, by the way, the Chiefs' offensive line is not that good this year. They're middle of the pack.
Yes, and I think it's their left tackle, Joe,
Yep.
which is their weakness. Um, so
Well,
you,
Tooney's going to play left guard. They have the tackle out there. That's the weakness.
yes, um, and I think it's who's the guy they signed from Jacksonville last year to their offensive line. I forget his name, but he gets away with a lot of false starts off the top.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Jawan Jones, the right
Yes,
tackle.
yes. So he gets away with a lot of false starts,
Well, in fairness, so does Lane Johnson. By the way, I will chop that up.
but no. The reason I'm bringing that up is because of this. I think if you put like a Jalen Carter against him, you're going to win that matchup because of the false starts he gets away with. I think that could give somebody like a Jalen Carter that extra boost he needs. That's just like that's just my thinking on that. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Uh,
Um,
again, I think I think that it is imperative for my defensive line to get after Kansas City. The one thing I am worried about is I don't know if you've heard about this. As you guys can tell, I'm still getting through my illness. I probably had the flu or something. Jalen Carter currently does have the flu. He has not practiced all week, and apparently there is a bug going around the Eagles locker room.
and it surprises you that it's happening when they're playing the Chiefs.
It's so I know, right? It does worry me. Listen, this thing's going around. I don't know if you saw, but Colin Cowherd fell off his set Monday when hosting the herd. He was obviously very ill. And no, Grandizer, I see your comment. I'm not getting all choked up. I just have a very weak voice. It takes me a second to obviously be recovering from what I've been going for the past few weeks. But with that being said, I feel that my Eagles have the better team. They have the better overall roster, the better offensive line, the better defensive line, the better skill positions. I think the only argument you can make that obviously Kansas City has is the quarterback position. I don't think it's as big of a gap as a lot of people do. You know my feelings on Jalen Hurts. I think he rises to the occasion when it matters the most. And I think that this Eagles team needs to set the tone early. What will worry me is if Kansas City gets an early lead.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. I I don't know if this Eagles team is built to play from behind. Granted, I think it depends how big of an early lead Kansas City gets. If it's only like a 10-0 lead for example, I think the Eagles can come back from something
I
like.
actually disagree with you. I think if it's more than a touchdown, I think we're in trouble.
Oh, really?
Yes. Because you're playing Kansas City, you're playing Steve Spagnuolo, you're playing that defense is going to bring a ton of pressure. And this Eagles team is used to trailing, but they're not used to trailing by more than double digits.
I still think you guys can come back from 10-0 at worst. But anything more than that, I think you are in trouble. But let's say you get down by double digits early. My biggest question is, will you stick with the run game? Or would that force Kellen Moore to not necessarily abandon the run game, because that is what's gotten you to this point, but would it force him to go away from the run game and lean more into passing and going to guys like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith? Do you get what I'm saying?
Josh, I think you answered your own question within your question.
Okay,
Um,
explain.
Basically, because if you're down 10-0, you have to throw more. I mean, you're not going to run the ball down 10 points, but you're not going to go away from the run, but you're not going to run it the way you were. You can run it again when you're within 3, but that's the offensive philosophy, right? When we're down 10, we have to score right away. And I think the Chiefs are going to attempt to sell out to Saquon Barkley from the beginning. I think they're going to be unsuccessful in doing so. I think this Eagles offensive line, it is statistically the heaviest, weighs the heaviest in the league. They're going to wear on them. I could see very early, though, in this game, them taking a deep shot to an A.J. Brown or a Devontae Smith to show Kansas City we can throw the football down the field. I actually like throwing it a little bit early in the game, open up those running lanes, and then just wear you down and let Barkley take over the second half.
So I just want to answer Grandizer super quick. Um, he asked, "What is the line right now?" Someone said it.
No, it's Kansas City by 1.5.
Yeah, According to ESPN, Kansas City is a -1 point favorite.
And by the way, that's some betting sites because it's been going down because some money is going to go on Philadelphia here. I have bet the game. I bet Philly plus 1.5. Obviously, I am on record. I think my Eagles are going to win this game 27-23. And before the year, when we started this season 2 of Championship Rings, August 28th, 2024, nearly exactly 6 months ago, I had predicted Taylor Swift was going to be in the box in New Orleans to watch her Kansas City Chiefs fall to an NFC team and not complete the three-peat. I think next Tuesday, right here on Championship Rings, it's going to be all green, baby.
I wish I could agree with you, but this is the NFL. This is the Chiefs. Roger Goodell can deny it all they want. They're going to rig this. The Chiefs are going to three-peat, and that's that.
Do you have a score prediction?
What? It was like 38-35 last
It was
time.
38-35. Now, the over-under is 47.5. I had them, or excuse me, it's 48.5. I had them barely reaching the over. I think it's about 50-51. I have it 27-23.
So I know Kansas City got 32 points in the AFC Championship, but typically when you watch their games, they don't get higher than like 20, like typically like 27, somewhere in that range. So I'll say it's a little bit lower scoring than you. I'll go Kansas City 24, Philadelphia 21.
Okay, so that would mean that you would have the under on the game. How do you think the game ends? Let me ask you that. Do you think it's the Eagles striving for a field goal, Kansas City gets a turnover? Like, what's the ending sequence for the game?
Since it was a Harrison Butker game-winning field goal last time, I'll say the Eagles are up 21-17. Mahomes has the ball. He throws it to Travis Kelce for the game-winning touchdown.
Okay, my ending scenario is it's 27-23. Kansas City is driving at the 2-minute warning. It's like a 3rd and 6 near midfield. Jalen Carter gets a big sack. They get the stop on 4th down. That's how the game will end.
Uh-oh. Grant Nizer says, yeah, I don't see Philly winning. KC has the tougher road to the Super Bowl.
I mean, tougher road, it's debatable. Philadelphia played one more game. Philadelphia was in a closer game than Kansas City was. I mean, that Rams game, if the Eagles go on to win the Super Bowl, the Rams game and the sack Jalen Carter made on that 3rd down play when the Rams were driving to go into the end zone, down 6 to potentially win the game, that game will go down as one of the greatest games in the Eagles' history. I mean, if Jalen Carter does not make that sack, you can make an argument the Chiefs are playing the Rams in this game.
Which we should have gotten that in Super Bowl 53, but the NFL said no to that.
Okay, let's talk about what this game means for the legacy of Patrick Mahomes. And you know what I'm talking about here. The GOAT conversation.
And this is part of the reason why I hate Mahomes. Because people are already calling him like, is he the next GOAT? And I'm just like, we just got off of this conversation with Tom Brady. Like, can we give it a little bit of a break? And nope, it's being thrust right back into our face again. So I'm sorry, but this is part of the reason why I hate Mahomes. But if he's able to do this, you have to consider him, I would say, like the 1B to Tom Brady, because nobody's ever three-peated in the Super Bowl era. Because we know the Packers did it. I believe it was like in the 50s or something.
Well, no, here's the thing. It was technically the year, so they won the first 2 Super Bowls. We all know that. they also won the year before the first Super Bowl. So they technically did three-peat. They
Yeah.
just did not do it in the Super Bowl because the first year was the AFL championship.
Okay. So, like I said, Mahomes would be the first quarterback to three-peat in the Super Bowl era. He's done it with Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. Granted, he's done it with different offensive coordinators and a different cast of characters at the skill position group. I would say this is probably his weakest skill position group.
No, last year was.
Oh, I, uh, I
They have Hopkins, they have Hollywood Brown. Worthy, I think, is better than what Rashid Rice was a year ago. They have Pacheco and Kareem Hunt in the backfield now.
yeah, but DeAndre Hopkins hasn't done a lot for them
He
since.
hasn't, but I mean, last year, what do they have? Rice, and that's it. McCole Hardman. I mean, they had Kelsey, but Kelsey's been the same as what he was this year.
True. So, okay, I shouldn't say they've been worse, but it almost feels like this year's skill position group is like maybe, I'll rephrase that, is maybe slightly better, not like 10 times better.
I
It's not,
think you're missing the point about the Chiefs' offense. It's not about their skill position players.
oh, I
They're
know.
they're
They,
just more efficient than anybody. It's what I kept telling you about Buffalo. The reason why they're so good, they don't turn the ball over. I mean, they have outside of that turnover that they had against Buffalo, they didn't have a turnover in 8 games. They are so efficient and they take so much time off the clock. They make it a game of possessions, and then you in your head are thinking, "Oh my God, we're facing Mahomes. We have to get a touchdown, and if we don't, the game is over."
yeah, that part I agree with you. Um, because you're right. This Kansas City team is not like what it was back in when they won their first Super Bowl during the 2019 season when they had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and the likes of others. It's a very different offense now. They're not, I wouldn't even say they're an offensively driven team anymore. They're a defensively driven
They
team.
have been dating back to last year. I will say this, um, and then we'll get back to Mahomes quickly. I think the thing that people are missing about this game is everybody wants to talk about that Niners team from a year ago, how great they were. In my opinion, this Phillies team is better than that San Francisco team last year. Like, I think this is easily the best team Kansas City has faced in their Super Bowl run. Period.
I could I would hear you on that argument. By the way, both teams are looking to go 2-0 in terms of Super Bowl rematches because the Eagles won their rematch against the Patriots in Super Bowl 52, and last year the Chiefs won their rematch against the 49ers in the Super Bowl. And now we're getting another rematch. So one of these teams is going to be 2-0 in Super Bowl rematches. I think that's a storyline that not a lot of people are talking about.
So, when it comes to Mahomes, here's my thing. Before this 3P was a possibility, I was always the guy that was saying, no, Mahomes. Oh, excuse you, Josh. Are you all
Yes,
right? Okay.
I'm coming down with a bit of a cold myself.
You're doing the same thing I was doing. Well, hey, I'm not giving it to you virtually. I'm sorry about that. Okay. So Mahomes, before they had the chance to do this for repeat, it was very much, you know, um, I don't think he's gonna get to Brady. It's 7 versus 2, yada yada yada. But now that they have this repeat, and I get it, Brady beat Mahomes and then twice, I understand that. But Tom Brady has never had a chance to even go for a repeat. They never made it to 3 straight Super Bowls where they won the first two. Obviously, they made it to 3 straight in 51, 52, and 53, but they lost in 52. So, with that being said, to me, if Mahomes does this, he will do something that nobody else has ever done. He's already had more success at this stage in his career than Tom Brady has had in this stage of his career. his earliest elimination since he was a starter was the AFC Championship game, where in year 2 for Tom Brady, coming off the 2001 season, he missed the postseason. And so for me, I'm not going to say he's up there in GOAT status yet, but I don't think if they pull this off, if they get the three-peat, I don't think he needs to get to 7 Super Bowls. I think if they win, 5 and 7 years, or 6 and 8 years, I think that will be enough because of the three-peat. Like, I think we are seeing the most successful career for a guy this young in NFL history. Period.
So let me ask you this. If Mahomes catches Brady in terms of Super Bowls, is that all it would take for him to be the GOAT?
So you're saying if he doesn't get the three-peat, but he reaches 7?
Yes.
Yeah, because he had more success early in his career. Now, it depends on how long it takes him, though, too. Like, will he go through a 10-year drought of not winning another Super Bowl the way Brady did? I don't think he will, for the record.
That and also, like, you have to think about all the accolades Brady piled up.
Well, again, like LeBron, that's more of a longevity thing. But Mahomes is close already. That's the weird thing. Maybe not in terms of the passing yards. Obviously, he's going to play a lot of years to do that. But in terms of overall, like getting the AFC Championship games and winning divisions, historic stuff like that, like he's near what Brady and Belichick accomplished already over 20 years.
Yeah, and I'll admit this, and I think I've said this to you a couple times. I did not admit that Tom Brady was the GOAT until he went to Tampa Bay and led the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl.
That to me, I've never understood. I thought he was the undisputed GOAT after the Atlanta Super Bowl.
Because of all the
I know, because of the cheating scandals. That's the only argument you can make.
But that's why I wasn't willing to admit Brady was the GOAT until I saw him go to Tampa Bay and do it away from New England. So, what does Mahomes get more, like a bigger grade, I guess, if you want to call it that, for doing it with one team? If he does get a three-peat, yes, I would give him a bigger grade, or however you want to phrase it. You know what I mean? A little bit, or not really?
Yes.
Okay. Like, I know it's not a direct correlation, but part of the reason why I can't give LeBron the status of GOAT over Michael Jordan is because LeBron was too much of a team hopper for me. Like, he went from Cleveland to Miami, back to Cleveland, now he's with the Lakers. Whereas, like, with Brady, you think of the New England Patriots, where
well, and you think of Tampa Bay because he won a Super Bowl there.
Yes, but to I would say not as much of an extent that you do New England. Whereas if Mahomes gets to the three-peat, as long as he stays with Kansas City, he's going to be synonymous with the Chiefs.
Well, he's always going to be synonymous with the Chiefs, even if he leaves Kansas City.
Fair. But I get that my reasoning is like doesn't have a lot of credibility to it, but it's what I'm going with.